Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. My humble obeisance to all the blessed souls who are watching this program. My pranams to all the devotees of Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar in particular. To those who have seen Bhagavan, those devotees who were fortunate enough to see Bhagavan in flesh and blood, I would say, rejoice, rejoice, for we have seen God face to face. We are so fortunate to have seen God in flesh and blood in the form of Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. What is the proof? On what basis do I declare this? In the Guru Gita, it is said, Guru Brahma Vina na anyat satyam satyam varanani. That is, Guru is none other than Brahman, the all-pervading power which we call God. That is the type of Guru we have been fortunate to see, to move with. And that is why I say we have reason to rejoice this event of seeing God face to face, seeing Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, another form of God face to face. But at the same time, there are those who couldn't see Bhagavan in flesh and blood. To them, I would say, you are perhaps luckier because feeling God is more important than seeing God. There are people who have been living with gurus without making much progress spiritually. But you have started feeling God. That means you have internalized Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. You internalize Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar by chanting his name constantly. Recently, Madevaki had narrated an incident in her satsang. That is, one gentleman used to buy some flowers worth a rupee and offer it to the picture of Bhagavan before he goes to work. One day, he had no time to buy the flower and offer it to Bhagawan's picture. On his way to the office, he went to the temple in the hope of seeing Bhagawan there. Bhagawan was sitting somewhere. As soon as Bhagawan saw this man, he asked him, "Why didn't you give me flowers today?" This man was shocked. That means Bhagavan is watching us wherever he may be. And he had said, body imposes some constraints on this beggar. When this beggar leaves the body, he will be working more vigorously. That is what is happening now. He is working more vigorously now. Not only in the case of those who have seen Bhagavan, he is working for those who have not seen Bhagavan also. That is why I told you there is no reason why those who could not see Bhagavan to feel disappointed. He is equally active with those who have seen him in flesh and blood and those who haven't seen him. So, to all the devotees who have seen Bhagavan and who have not seen Bhagavan, my humble pranams. I have been asked to speak on Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar in my life. Before I start my speech, I have to convey my soul-felt thanks to Abhayam, the forum for the transaction of Guru Bhakti, or Bhakti for Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Let me first thank the prime mover of this forum, which we call Abhayam, the refuge, the divine refuge. The prime mover of this forum, Puja Sri Muralidhara Swami. Let me thank him first, wholeheartedly. Then there are the organizers of Abhayam, Mr. Sundaraman, Mrs. Sundaraman, and Balasubramaniam. Blessed are they, as they have provided this highly useful forum for us to grow spiritually more and more. And at this forum, many people have already spoken. I would say that they have been speaking their hearts out. The most important thing I could notice in them was the intimacy that each of them developed for Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Everybody felt that it was my Bhagavan, it is my Bhagavan. This is the real greatness of a Guru. The path of the Guru, especially the path of our Guru, Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, is the path of love. The path of love. He has taught us to love. I feel it an exhilarating experience to be among you mentally at the subtle level. I am conscious of the fact that hundreds of Bhagavan's devotees are listening to this oral performance by me, which is being done by the grace of Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar himself. This is where really Bhagavan's greatness lies. He has enveloped all of us in his universal love. This togetherness in Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar is his main achievement. Only a great Guru can do that. This is a miracle. Through love, he has converted everyone whom he touched. Recently, I happened to be talking to a monk who is a very learned man. He was telling me something about Upanishads, Dharma, Advaita, and so on. He was quoting scriptures, and then I was moved to tears, not by listening to what he was saying, not by feeling the depth of what he was trying to express to me, but by realizing this fact. Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, you have made all this unnecessary to me by your mere touch. I felt Bhagavan has taken me beyond all the scriptures by his mere touch. What all he said, Bhagavan has made me understand. So I felt it was something supernumerary, not very absolutely necessary for me to hear such lectures. This is the miracle that Bhagavan does by mere touch, sometimes by look, sometimes by thought. By thought he has converted me. Now, coming back to my topic. Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar in my life. I had to say first how Bhagavan entered my life. The darshan, the first meeting with Bhagavan, the pravesham of Bhagavan into my life. The day was 31st January 1994. That was the day on which our dear Balasubramaniam, his betrothal was taking place. Balasubramaniam's betrothal was being celebrated on that day, but to me, it was a twin celebration, because to me, it was the celebration of my first meeting with Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, also arranged by Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar at the expense of Mr. Balasubramaniam's father, Mr. Sundararaman. Let me tell you how the whole thing unfolded. We had some family friends, a couple. The gentleman had some business, and the business was on rocks. It was not doing well. We were very close, family friends. He told us the situation in which they were, and I suggested that I could call an astrologer, friend of mine, who was actually my colleague, not a professional astrologer, and we will ask him whether anything could be done. Well, that gentleman came home, and this couple also came, and he said, your business is in bad shape because you are going through very bad time. When you are caught in such situations, it is better to see some spiritual luminaries. And he himself suggested that they could either see Kodiswami of Puravipalayam or Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar of Tiruvannamalai. Immediately I jumped up. If it is Bhagawan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, I can arrange a meeting with him. Because Madevaki had joined Bhagawan at Sudama just a few months before that. Madevaki was my wife's colleague, so we knew her well. Moreover, I used to meet her at the local Ramakrishna Mutt also. I was confident that I could write to Madevaki about the plight of my friend and request her to get him the darshan and grace of Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So I wrote a letter to Madevaki stating the case of my friend, and the letter was written on the 18th. The letter was written on 18th January. The letter was written on 18th January, and I received it the next day, and I'm sorry. On the 18th, I had sent the gentleman, on the 18th, I had sent the gentleman to Bhagawan after writing to Madevaki, and he had reached Tiruvannamalai on that day a little late. So Bhagavan asked him to go there again the next day at 11 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, at 10 o'clock. Then somehow he was a little late. He went to the temple, he went to Girivalam and to the temple and so on, and he reached there late. And Bhagavan appeared to be, Bhagavan in the meanwhile had sent for him 2 or 3 times. And when Bhagavan at last saw him, he got into the car, and the person who had come to pick us up was Dr. Rajagopal, a noted devotee of Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, who is now in Ashram, Kajangat. He is one of the inmates of the Ashram now. And he took us by the car to Mr. Sundarraman's house. There the function was going on. See the compassion of Bhagavan. These 3 worms of his devotees were going to Tiruvannamalai from Salem by bus, and we were to have got down at Ramanashram. There, Bhagavan had sent the car to pick us up. And in the meanwhile, it appears Bhagavan had asked Mr. Sundarraman's permission to take a guest, one of his guests, to the function. A guest is coming from Salem, can I take him there? Then Mr. Sundarraman said, your guest is my guest. What I say is, the secular side of divinity. My first article on Bhagavan was titled The Secular Side of Divinity. Bhagavan has taught us how to lead the so-called worldly life also. Well, now we'll let us go ahead with the meeting. We reached there, and then again, see the compassion of our master. He sends Ma Devaki to the entrance to receive us, to the entrance of the house. Ma Devaki came and took us in. Then we were asked to sit down there. The Bhagavan ordered coffee for us, then breakfast. Then see what happened. I was sitting there, closing my eyes and meditating. Then I thought, you are face to face with the Mahatma, with an enlightened soul. Why do you close your eyes? And what are you meditating upon? I opened my eyes and then saw Bhagavan kept on blessing me. In one hand he had his cigarette, and with the other hand he was blessing me. Then I was in tears. I started shedding tears. Then I saw Bhagavan patting the hand of Ma Devaki, I started envying her. What a blessing to sit by the side of Bhagavan, to move with him so closely and see how he pats, how he caresses the ma's hand. I was a little jealous also, so to say. And after some time, Bhagavan appeared to be telling Madevaki something, and Madevaki immediately called me and said, Bhagavan wants you to sit to his left. I went there and sat to the left of Bhagavan. Bhagavan started patting my right hand also. So, Bhagavan has read the wish that was flitting across my mind and fulfilled my wish. After some time, Bhagavan wanted to light his cigarette. Then he went on patting my hand. For lighting the cigarette, Bhagavan gave the box of matches to Madevaki, and she was asked to light the cigarette for Bhagavan. She did it. Then again, I thought, I am a man sitting by his side. Should Bhagavan ask a lady to do this favor to him? Well, it was all going on in my mind. After finishing that cigarette, Bhagavan wanted to light the next cigarette. Then the box of matches came to my hand. Bhagavan gave me the box of matches and asked me to light the cigarette. And you don't know, I can't explain how I felt lighting that cigarette for Bhagavan. What a blissful experience. Well, soon it was time for lunch. Lunch was served downstairs for Bhagavan, for us, and all the others, some 3 or 4 or 5 was us. Then I was sitting to the left of Bhagavan, Madevaki was to the right. Then to my left, my wife, and then my son, and so on. Lunch was served. Then again, Bhagavan asked me to eat, start eating. But I had again a secret wish. I wanted something from Bhagavan's leaf as prasad. But I can't tell Bhagavan, give me something as prasad, then I will start eating. Bhagavan just looked at me, broke a piece of puppet from his leaf and put it in my leaf and then said, start. So this wish also was fulfilled. After lunch was over, we all washed our hands. Bhagavan finished washing his hands. By the time Bhagavan came back to the mat, a pillow was brought so that Bhagavan could lie down there for a while and rest. Immediately I got up, making room for Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, no, you sit down there. I sat down there. Bhagavan put the pillow in my lap and Bhagavan's holy head was in my lap. He reclined there, keeping his holy head there in my lap. Then I didn't know I had God in my lap. For about half an hour, Bhagavan pretended to be sleeping, holding my right thumb in his both his hands. Closing his eyes, he rested. Then we got up. Then Bhagavan got up, and by then it was Bhagavan ordered coffee for us. It was around 3 o'clock then, and then we had coffee, got Bhagavan's blessings, and Bhagavan gave us leave, and we started. And we left Bhagavan's presence. Again, Ma Devaki was sent to see us off, to see us to the door. On the way to the entrance, Ma Devaki asked me, Poduma, in Tamil, is it enough? Then I said, what more? What more do I want? So my cup was full with grace on that day. This is how Bhagavan entered my life. My soul recognized the Guru. There was a turbulence of emotions as it happened. That was why I started crying. This would have happened to most of you. This keeps happening to the devotees who speak at this forum. I have watched people wiping their tears because it is a matter of the soul. The intimacy Bhagavan establishes is between Bhagavan and your soul. So, this is how Bhagavan entered the life of our family. Then we started visiting Bhagavan as frequently as he could. Then there was another important event. That was the foundation laying ceremony of the ashram. It happened on the 26th February, and for that ceremony, Bhagavan wanted me to speak on that occasion, and that was my first speech in Bhagavan's presence. Bhagavan sent Sister Sudama's sister Rajalakshmi to ask me to speak, and that happened, went on well. And after the speech the next day, Bhagavan sent word by Rajalakshmi that I had spoken well. He sent prasadam by her. Thereafter, every weekend, almost every weekend, as long as she was in Salem, Bhagavan used to send prasadam. And in the meanwhile, we started visiting Bhagavan regularly by way of offering. We used to take some vegetables like bitter gourd and lady's finger, then some packets of cigarette and so on. One day, when we were taking all this to Bhagavan, Ma Devaki was by his side. Then Ma Devaki suggested, with all these things why don't you bring some wheat flour which can be used for making chapatis for Bhagavans. We said sure, and Bhagavan also appeared to nod his assent. So the next time, before we went, I wrote to Bhagawan, Bhagawan, I am bringing with me as an offering to be made at Bhagavan's holy feet some wheat flour. Kindly accept it. Then we went there. Bhagavan accepted it. Thereafter, every month we used to carry the wheat flour to Bhagavan, but every time before I take it to Tiruvannamalai, I would write to Bhagavan for his permission. And every time after I returned, I would write thanking Bhagavan for accepting the offering. But on one occasion, the couple I was talking to you about, they came to us with some other problem and wanted to see Bhagavan again. So with them, we went to see Bhagavan. By then, it was more or less time for us to carry the wheat flour to Bhagavan. So, I had no time to write to Bhagavan this time. I thought Bhagavan wouldn't mind it. It is more or less time. So I carried the wheat flour also. Then I took these people to Bhagavan with the wheat flour offering. Then I said, Bhagavan, I have brought you. Who asked you to bring it? I don't want this. Take it away. I had the shock of my life. There I didn't know. I was afraid that I had lost the chance of taking that offering every month and getting Bhagavan's prasadam. That is, the remainder invariably Bhagavan would bring as his prasadam. I was afraid I had lost all those chances. But then our compassionate Bhagavan, after about half an hour or so, finishing his business with them and other bhajan and all that, he called me. Bring it. What have you brought? Then I heaved a sigh of relief and gave it to him. Bhagavan was, somehow I felt that Bhagavan cannot be taken for granted. That is why I felt like seeking his permission before taking the offering and thanking Bhagavan after the offering also. Then 11/11/94 was another memorable day in our life. On that day, we went to the ashram. We had left the children behind at home. Only my wife Savitri and I had gone to see Bhagavan. On that day, after the morning darshan, we remained for the evening darshan also, afternoon darshan also. And at the end of the darshan, all the devotees, as was the wont there, as was the custom there, all the devotees lined up to see Bhagavan off. Curiously enough, Bhagavan's car stopped at the gate, and immediately Mr. Mani ran to the car, and then Bhagavan appeared to say something to Mr. Mani. Mr. Mani came back and straight to us, and he told us, Bhagavan wants Karunakaran and Savitri to go to Sudama. We were in the seventh heaven of bliss. Both of us not go to Sudama, Bhagavan, the car would come back, and by that car, we must go to Sudama. And we reached Sudama, and then, to our surprise, and to the surprise of Madevaki and the others, Bhagavan said, Karunakaran and Savitri are not going back today. Just then, that is, we hadn't taken any change or anything like that, but all that didn't matter. Then Bhagavan was lying in the veranda for a few days because in the hall where he was resting, it was very cold. Therefore, Mr. Mani had made arrangements to stick some carpet-like thing on the floor. And because of the smell of the chemicals, Bhagavan was not able to sleep there, and he was sleeping in the veranda. On that day, when we reached there, Bhagavan said, Savitri and Karunakaran have come to help us. Then Madhavi said, we don't understand Bhagavan's language. How can they help us? We don't understand. Till today, we don't know the meaning of what Bhagavan said. And we all then, Bhagavan wanted his bed to be taken back into the hall. Then, to be short, we spent that night with Bhagavan. And at 9 o'clock, somebody knocked at the door. Then somebody had seen, I think it was Mrs. Rajakumari's brother or somebody had come to see Bhagavan. Bhagavan went to see him. After sending him off, Bhagavan came back with a japamala made in sandalwood. Then Bhagavan called me, Karunakaran. Bhagavan was wearing it. Then Madevaki requested Bhagavan to remove it. When you lie down, it will cause discomfort. Bhagavan immediately removed it. Called me, Karunakaran, come here, let me garland you. Bhagavan, then I bowed down before Bhagavan, and Bhagavan put the japamala around my neck. And then I told Bhagavan and Madevaki, another wish of mine has been granted. I was longing for it. In the morning, we all, that night something happened. That was, the light had gone off. I was seated, and as was my custom, I was doing Ram Nam. The light was off, all the others were, they had gone to bed. Then I heard Bhagavan saying, was somebody doing some japa or something like that? This beggar can hear it. This is what I told you. Even if you do your japa mentally, Bhagavan hears it. Bhagavan hears it. The next morning, we hadn't brought any change and things like that. After our bath, Madevaki said, Bhagavan, with Bhagavan's permission, can I give Bhagavan's dhoti and kurta to Karunakaran? Swami said, no question of asking. And Madevaki gave her sari and blouse to my wife, Savitri. And wearing all this, we went to the ashram that morning. And that night, Bhagavan said, let Karunakaran and Savitri Raya phone their children, and they are not going tonight also. So we phoned our children. That night also we spent there. And I had written an article called, it was titled, 2 days as the guest of God. 2 days as the guest of God. So, Bhagavan liked to keep on blessing you. There are many incidents in which you could feel that, and now it is time for me to wind up this sharing of my experiences with you. I'm really blessed, and I'm extremely thankful to all the people who have been responsible for organizing this and giving me this opportunity. And Bhagavan is our lifeline. Let us hold on to this lifeline fast. Hold on to it. How Bhagavan has given us the means for it by constantly doing his japa. This will, Bhagavan's name and Bhagavan are not different. Let us chant Bhagavan's Nama, firmly believing that every Nama is listened by Bhagavan. Bhagavan is close by listening to every Nama that we chant. And this will, Bhagavan has given us word that this will protect us, guide us, here and hereafter. Jai Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya.